Okay, I'm Detective Sanford Kelly, Poughkeepsie State Police. I'm here with Andrea Kelly for a tape and videotaped, I should say, yes, a tape and videotape interview / interrogation. The time is 20:33 hours. The date is August 31st, 2014. Location is 5050 Mockingbird Lane. Ms. Jones agreed to allow us to interview her at her home. I'm interviewing her in reference to the untimely demise of Mr. Howard Jones, her late husband. Mr. Jones died of severe stab wounds, approximately 30. And we're going to interview Ms. Jones in her claim of self-defense. Okay, first thing we're going to do is to show for the record, Ms. Jones has a sign she waived having an attorney present at this time. It's signed and dated today's date. My signature and hers. It was in front of a witness.
I don't need an attorney.
Okay, fine, hold on. And also, she has been Mirandized already, but for this tape recording, we're going to read this Miranda to her again. So, Ms. Jones, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may and can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to hire an attorney. Have an attorney present. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you by the state. Are you clear on your rights,
yes,
Ms. Jones?
I told you.
Okay,
I told
good.
you need an attorney.
I want to get you to put this close to you so we can make sure we have the oral part of the interview as well. Okay, we're going to get started now at 20:35 hours. Ms. Jones, when we interviewed you 2 days ago on the 29th at the police precinct when you brought in for questioning, you were a person of interest. You were not arrested, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, you were released, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And you were asked about your husband. You had a 911 call. Emergency units came out and your husband was dead. He had several, again, we counted 30 wounds with a serrated knife from your kitchen. You said it was self-defense, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. You said you and your husband were arguing, is that correct?
I don't know if I call it an argument. He jumped on me.
Oh, okay. Why don't you tell me why he jumped on you?
Why? Because he's
Yes.
crazy. That's why.
And what does that mean? Does he have medical diagnosis? Was he on any kind of medication? Is bipolar, schizophrenic?
No, he's
When you say crazy, what does that mean?
got an anger problem. He doesn't know how to control his anger. He was mad because the milk was too cold.
The milk was too cold. Okay. So, had he ever went to any anger management classes?
No, he's not to my
Any
knowledge.
therapy?
Not to my knowledge, no. I tried to get him to get help, but he wouldn't.
Okay. Have you ever reported it to any doctor?
I've been to a emergency room before for some incidents, but I
What
told
kind of
them
incidents?
he jumped on me, but I told them that
Domestic violence, is that what we're saying? Just so we're
Yes.
clear for the record.
yes.
Okay. Did you make a police report?
No, I
Reference to
did
the-
not. I was afraid. I told the doctors that I had fallen and hurt
The emergency
myself.
room.
Yes,
Oh. Okay.
I was afraid.
And those doctors would be at Piedmont Fair Hospital, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's where I went.
Did you have any bruises? Did you take any pictures? Did they take any pictures of any bruises or the result? What kind of injuries did you have?
Which time? That time that I
Any
lied?
time that you went and sought any help from a doctor, a medical professional?
Did they take pictures? No, I don't think that they
Did
took
you take pictures?
No, I had a broken arm. I didn't take pictures.
You had a broken arm?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And how long ago was that you had the broken arm?
That was a couple of years ago.
2 years ago. You
Yeah.
didn't report that either?
No, I did not report that.
Okay, all right. And any of the incidents of domestic violence that you allege, you didn't get any kind of medical reports,
No, I did not.
and you didn't make any police reports?
No, I told you I was afraid.
Okay, all right. So you were scared to leave him?
Yes, I was. He threatened me. He threatened to kill our children if I left.
And children being your 14-year-old daughter, Samaya, and your 12-year-old son, Bilal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, for full disclosure, you consented to have us interview your children.
Yes.
You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
We had them interviewed by a juvenile psychiatric person, a professional forensic scientist. We did some research on your allegation of domestic violence. As you say, you never made any reports. We even subpoenaed some records from your doctor, and we can't find anything denoting that you had been physically abused.
I just told you that I didn't report it as abuse.
I understand that.
I told the doctors that I fell.
I understand, but hear what I'm saying again. We were able to subpoena based on the situation, your medical records. And in your medical records that we were able to obtain for, it wasn't a full 2 years, but 15 months back, there wasn't anything in there that was out of the ordinary.
I understand that.
Okay. I'm just trying to substantiate your claims of domestic violence.
I don't know that you can substantiate them because I didn't report it. I was
Well,
afraid.
I'm trying to help you, ma'am. I'm trying to help you, Miss Jones. I'm trying to substantiate and find the truth for you.
I don't have any records. I
Okay.
didn't call the police. I was
Okay.
afraid.
Okay. But you do allege that there was a history of domestic violence.
Yes, yes.
And you were arguing because he just was mad with you, and as he was always mad about nothing in particular.
Yes, anything would set him off.
Okay.
The food was too hot, the food was too cold, it snowed outside, whatever. He took it out on me.
I understand that. Okay. I empathize with that. Let me ask you a question. Could it possibly have been that the argument between your husband been about a possible affair?
No, not
No?
affair.
Are you familiar with Felipe Jones?
I don't know Felipe Jones.
You don't know Felipe Jones?
No, how would I know Felipe Jones?
Well, also, when we were doing some investigation, we subpoenaed your phone records for the last year. And in that year, we had hundreds of calls between you and Mr. Jones. And they averaged out to about 75 calls per week.
Me and Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Are you trying to say we had a thing going on?
Let me finish asking the question. Also, those phone calls always took place between 10 and 4 in the morning. Your husband worked, if I'm correct, he worked for you, FedEx. He worked the night shift,
Yes,
stocking trucks. Is that correct?
that's correct.
His hours were from 11:30 to 6 in the morning. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
So all the calls were generally after it seemed like he was gone for work or while he was at work. Also, it was interesting that we found out 3 months ago that, well, let me ask you a question. How about this? Do you remember a trip to Cancun you took 2 months ago?
I didn't go to Cancun 2 months
You
ago.
didn't go to Cancun?
Cancun, Mexico?
Wow. Well, just so you know, we've talked to Mr. Jones and questioned him about those frequent phone calls. And he alleges that you and him have been seeing each other for a good year. And that in fact, 2.5, 3 months ago, I can give you the dates. I have hotel reservations with Mr. Jones' name on it. But just coincidentally, let me find the receipts right here. Yeah, here it is. You stayed in the Marriott Marquis in Cancun, Mexico for 3 days and 2 nights. course, it was under his name, but we just so happened to find a very fine dining restaurant, Cozumel Maria, and it was paid for with your credit card. Has your credit card been stolen?
Why in the world would I go to Mexico with someone that I don't know? Now,
So how did this $200 meal
I
you
don't
paid
know.
for?
Maybe someone used my credit card.
Have you reported your credit card stolen in the last 6 months?
No, I didn't know that it was stolen. Maybe they got my number
Yeah.
some kind of way.
So when you paid your bill the last time, and you paid this bill, I have the receipts when you paid your bill as well. Did you call them and say that this wasn't yours?
I don't pay attention to what's on the bill. I just
Never pay attention.
I just
A
pay it.
$200 bill in Mexico and you,
I didn't,
no clue.
I didn't see it. I
Hmm.
just paid the bill. I just
Okay.
look at how much is owed.
Not where it
and
was, not what it was for.
I just tear off the bottom part that says what the minimum payment is, and that's what I pay.
Well, how do you explain the phone calls on your phone bill? This is your phone bill.
I don't know. Maybe my daughter is talking to this man or
404-666-8672.
something. Hey, did you question my daughter?
She up at midnight?
I don't know. I'm
You check on your
asleep.
daughter. Okay.
I have to get up and go to work.
Well, why would he say he know you was having an ongoing affair?
I-
And that you two went to Mexico, which is substantiated by these bills.
That is not substantiated by the bills. Anybody can get your credit card and use your credit card number.
Another question. What kind of alcohol do you drink?
I don't drink.
Because on the bill, it showed at least $75 in the meal was with amaretto. And just, I noticed in coming in when we were setting up everything for the tape, we noticed the bottle of amaretto.
My husband drinks.
Your husband drinks?
He's an alcoholic. That's part of his problem.
Oh, you just mentioned that. Alcohol. You said his problem was he had anger management.
Yes, and he drinks,
just-
and that's why he gets crazy
now
when he drinks.
So the amaretto is his, huh?
Yes, I don't drink.
Wow. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but the toxicology report did not show any signs of alcohol. And if you're saying that he drinks a lot before he abuses you, we did a toxicology report and it didn't show any, because we asked, it didn't show any alcohol in there.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe toxicology? You think
No.
I'm lying to you?
I don't believe that.
Well, it didn't show any.
Well, I don't know how that is because he drinks all the time.
So you never went to Mexico. You don't know.
No,
This gentleman said he knows you.
no, I don't know. What's his name, Mr. Jones?
Okay. So let me ask you a question. If I were to go into my file here and present you with some pictures of you and Mr. Jones, how'd you feel about that?
You can't possibly have any pictures of me and Mr. Jones.
No pictures.
No.
Okay. Well, these were some pictures presented by Mr. Jones in his interview. And I want you to take a look at these pictures. This is showing you and him in quite a
That's not me.
romantic embrace.
I'm sorry.
This picture shows you and Mr. Jones kissing.
That's not me.
That's not you.
That's not me.
It's getting really hard. I'm trying to help you here, Ms.
That's
Jones. I'm
not-
really trying to help you, but all the evidence is leading up to you.
That's not me. I don't know who that is. It's someone that may look like me, but that's not
Okay,
me.
another question. When you went to the hospital after the incident with your husband,
Yes.
we noticed that some of the cuts on your hand, some of the bruises on your hand had little serrated edges, which means the edge of that knife cut you. Your husband had at least 10, at least 5-inch deep wounds. Now, just to break that down a little bit in police talk, that means almost like that's a crime of passion. And for you to have those same cuts that match the knife, that means that knife had to go and be pushed into your husband's chest and forced down. Reports, the medical examiner also showed us where those 5-inch cuts cut muscle mass all the way down to his liver in some of the cuts. when you're defending yourself, generally, we weren't there, but generally when you're defending yourself, you have slashes. But never, well, I won't say never, but it's highly unusual to have a knife pushed all the way down to a person's level.
I came at him with the knife like this. I was trying to get him off of me.
And that wouldn't cause you to cut your hand.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
The
Because
knife slipped.
your husband is 6 feet 2 inches tall. You're 5'6". If you were trying to get him off you, generally, you'd have cuts here, you'd have cuts from the waist up. But if you said, and I'm using your words, you were trying to get him off you, those cuts wouldn't be down to deliver, Miss Jones. That would be very difficult if he was trying to hurt you and you were trying to fight back.
I was just doing this and doing this. I was just trying to get him away from me.
And it took you a long time? Because you 50 cuts.
I just kind of zoned out.
You don't drink?
I don't drink, no.
Okay. In your job as a salesperson, we did a little investigating around that too. And we were able to
investigating.
That's what we do. We have some receipts from when you went to lunch. That was just a week ago at Sambuca's restaurant. And just so happened on that receipt, here, let me get that for you. There's 2 charges for $30 amaretto. Now, we interviewed your colleague that was with you, Ms. Diane Reeves.
I don't drink.
She doesn't drink.
Lunch.
We talked to your waiter. Your waiter said that Ms. Reeves had Coke with lemon. She's a white lady. Is Ms. White? Let me verify that with you. Hold on. Let me
What
step
does
back.
her race have to
Is
do
Ms.
with
Reeves white?
anything? Yes, why?
Okay. Well, what it has to do is only 2 of you there at lunch. And
There were other people in the restaurant.
no, but at your table, they served you. I had what you ate, what she ate. And it was amaretto, as far as beverages, and Coke. He specifically told me that the
He's
black
a
female
lie.
had the amaretto and Miss Reeves had the
He's
Coke.
a lie.
Okay, I'm really trying to give you a
He's
chance.
a liar.
Because you know, that's a whole different charge, filing false charges. You say your husband was domestic violence, but you were having an affair.
I was not having an affair.
We have a gentleman who says he's been having an ongoing affair with you for
I don't
past
know.
year.
I don't know him.
You were just in Cancun, Mexico.
I was not.
So could it
in
possibly
Mexico.
have been the fact that your husband approached you and accused you of having an affair, and you got so irate and you tried to deny it, then he may have came up to you and pressed at you. He might even grabbed you. I understand that. That's an emotional situation. You know, that's a very emotional situation. And could it just possibly have been that you were a little intoxicated that night and you were just fed up? You didn't want to be with your husband no more anyway. The knife was 2 feet from you in the kitchen where the argument started. Because all the blood patterns, all of the soap is in the 10 feet area between the kitchen where the knives are and where your husband died on the kitchen floor. Got your 911 tape. Your voice even sounds slurred like you've been drinking. You weren't as upset as generally a spouse would be. Even in that situation of domestic violence, even though you've never reported it, though you said you've been a victim of domestic violence in 2 years. An interview with your children. You had a great dad. He was sad all the time, confided in his son, something's going on. He thought you and he were going to get a divorce. So I can see that. There's a lot of tension, a lot of pressure building up. I understand that. You were looking for a way out. So could it have been, I'm just asking you, could it have been, how I'm seeing it, He finally got up the nerve to approach you. Approached you with the phone bills. What had his bloody fingerprints on it. How did that happen? Any clue?
The phone bill with bloody fingerprints.
Yeah, he had your phone bill.
Uh-huh.
We found that in the kitchen as well.
Okay.
Had his prints on it.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it true that your husband came, talked to you, asked you why you were having an affair on him, presented it to you? You became irate. You all started fussing and cussing at each other. He grabbed you. You pulled that knife. You just went to work. You didn't mean to. I know you didn't mean to. You were upset. You thought about your children, the 20 years you've been married, all the time you had invested, but you knew you wanted to be out. Couldn't it have been you picked up that knife, you went to work, you come next thing you know, you went to work. By the time you stopped, it was too late. It was too late. I can see where that happened. Now that I can see where it happened. Your kids say your husband don't drink. He was a practicing Muslim. Only one they ever saw drink was their mama. And guess what your children say their mama drink? Who knew? Your son said, Moretto. That's what your son said. Now tell me now, Miss Donald, you said your son is alive. Are you going to say your son alive? You're not that kind of, I know you're not that kind of mother. Did your son lie on you? Did your son, that's all I want to know. And we can end this interview right now. Did your son lie on you?
You want to know what happened?
I want to know what happened.
I killed him.
You killed your husband?
I killed that MF.
Okay. Sometimes life gets rough. I understand. And I feel very badly for you and your family. But since you are willing to admit it on video and on tape, would you sign right here? And it'll be a signed confession. And I'll do everything I can to help ease this transition for you and your children. I'll do everything I can for you. I know there's a lot of pressure off you, and you finally get a chance to right what's wrong. Right here. And this will end this interview. This is again Sunday, 8:31 at 20:55 hours. I have a signed confession from Miss Jones saying that she murdered her husband in a fit of rage. Crime of passion. This interview is concluded.